Okay, so you're thinking about becoming a financial manager. Sounds like a pretty sweet gig, if you ask me. It's a role that needs you to be strategic, A&D, good with numbers.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's a combo that just screams challenge in the best way possible. But before you go diving headfirst into spreadsheets and investment strategies, there's that interview you got to ace.
And that's where we step in. Today, we're doing a deep dive into how to totally crush those financial manager interviews. We'll give you the inside scoop and strategies you need to not just answer the tough questions, but really wow your potential employer.
We got our hands on some awesome resources from RoleCatcher, their career guides and AI tools. Let me tell you, they're about to become your secret weapons in this whole interview process.
Think of it like having a roadmap and a personal trainer, but for your career. We're going to break down what a financial manager really does, why everyone's trying to snag this role. Spoiler alert, the salary is a major perk. And then we'll dive into those make or break interview questions. And we're not just giving you surface level answers, oh no. We're giving you the kind of insightful responses that'll make you stand out from the crowd.
All right. I am so here for that. But before we get lost in the interview maze, let's lay down some groundwork. What does a financial manager actually do? We know they handle the company's finances, sure. But what's a typical day look like for them?
Imagine being the architect of a company's financial health. We're not just talking about balancing the books here. You're analyzing financial data, developing budgets, and forecasting the company's financial future to guide those big picture strategic decisions.
So it's way more than just making sure the numbers add up at the end of the day.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the story that those numbers are telling, identifying trends, and using those insights to drive profitability and growth for the company.
Now that makes a lot of sense. Our source material mentions managing assets, liabilities, and equity. That sounds like a lot to juggle.
It definitely can be, especially with the financial landscape always shifting and the markets having their ups and downs. Think of it like solving a constantly changing puzzle, where every decision you make directly impacts the company's ability to invest, grow, and hit those long-term targets.
No pressure, right? And speaking of pressure, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the interview. What's the first question our aspiring financial managers need to be ready to knock out of the park?
The first question is often the one that seems the simplest, but it's so important for setting the tone and showing off your passion. Be ready to answer. What motivated you to pursue a career in finance?
Okay, that sounds simple enough, but I'm betting there's more to it than just saying, I like working with numbers.
You hit the nail on the head. This is your chance to tie your personal story to your professional goals. Was there a specific experience that sparked your interest in finance? Did you have a mentor who inspired you? Sharing those details makes your answer way more memorable, and it shows you're genuine and enthusiastic about this field.
So instead of saying, I'm good with numbers,
Yeah.
you could say something like, growing up, I was always fascinated by how businesses made decisions, and I realized that finance held the key to understanding that.
Now you're talking. You took a simple answer and made it personal, engaging, and relevant to the role.
Okay, that's a great start. What's next on the interview hit list?
Be ready to discuss your experience with financial reporting. Interviewers want to know you understand just how important accurate and timely reporting is for a company's success.
So it's not just about crunching those numbers, but understanding what they actually mean, right?
Exactly. This is your time to shine. Showcase your ability to analyze that financial data, spot any discrepancies, and communicate your findings clearly and in a way that everyone can understand.
This sounds like the perfect opportunity to show off those impressive Excel skills we were talking about earlier.
100%. Don't be shy about the specific software you're comfortable using. Excel, financial modeling tools, data visualization platforms, you name it. But remember, it's not enough to just list them off. Show them how you've used those tools in real-life situations.
So instead of saying, I'm proficient in Excel, you could say, in my last role, I used Excel to create a financial model. It helped us analyze how profitable our product lines were and pinpoint areas where we could improve.
See, now you're painting a picture. You've gone from simply stating a skill to demonstrating your ability to actually use that skill to tackle real business challenges.
That is a powerful way to stand out, for sure. This is where I think RoleCatcher's AI can be a game changer. Their platform digs into job descriptions and figures out exactly which skills each company is looking for.
It's incredible. They can even look at your resume and suggest improvements to make sure your skills and experience perfectly match the keywords and qualifications that hiring managers are looking for.
Okay, that is so helpful. But let's not forget about our listeners who are getting ready for their big interviews. What other questions should they be prepared for?
A common one is, how do you stay up to date with the latest financial trends and regulations? The world of finance is constantly changing, so you have to show that you're committed to continuous learning.
So instead of just saying, I read the Wall Street Journal, you could mention specific publications, websites, maybe even podcasts you follow.
Precisely. That shows you're proactive, you're staying ahead of the curve, and you're genuinely interested in the ever-evolving landscape of finance.
What about this one? How do you manage financial risk? That sounds a little intimidating, to be honest.
It can be, yeah, but it's your chance to showcase your strategic thinking skills and your ability to spot and handle potential problems before they blow up.
So should you talk about specific risk assessment frameworks you're familiar with? Or maybe share an example of a time you identified and mitigated a financial risk in a previous role.
Either approach works great. The important thing is to provide concrete evidence of what you can do. If you go with an example, make sure it's specific, measurable, and relevant to the job you're going for.
Like you could say, in my last position, I noticed an issue with our inventory management system that could have cost us a lot of money. I implemented a new tracking system that ended up saving the company thousands of dollars.
Now that's impressive. You've shown that you can not only spot a problem, but also take the initiative to fix it and make a real difference for the company's bottom line.
Okay, that's 3 tough questions tackled. I'm already feeling more prepared just hearing these strategies.
That's what we like to hear. Let's keep this momentum going with another question you're bound to hear. How do you manage a budget?
This feels like a perfect opportunity to highlight any experience you have with budgeting software or tools.
You got it. Mentioning specific software, especially those industry standard ones, shows that you're tech savvy and you know how to use the tools of the trade.
But it's not just about the tools themselves, right? It's about having a smart, strategic approach to budgeting.
Exactly. Talk about how you prioritize spending, keep track of expenses, and make adjustments along the way to stay within budget. Have you ever had to make some tough budget decisions? Did you successfully negotiate with stakeholders to get the resources you needed?
Those are all fantastic points to bring up. It shows that you're looking at the big picture and you're not afraid to make those tough calls when you need to.
And remember, it's not just about what you say, but how you say it. This is where RoleCatcher's AI-powered interview practice tool can be a total game changer.
Oh, tell me more about that. How does it work?
Picture this. You have a personal interview coach available 24/7 to help you polish your answers and boost your confidence. Their AI listens to your responses, gives you feedback on your pacing and tone, and even suggests areas to improve based on the specific company and role you're going for.
That's amazing. It's like having a secret weapon in your back pocket throughout the entire interview process.
Exactly. And the coolest part is that the AI tailors its feedback just for you. So you're not getting generic advice, you're getting insights that align with your unique situation and goals.
And we're back for more of the deep dive. We're really getting into the nitty-gritty of what it takes to be a financial manager. Gotta say, this interview prep is way more advanced than anything I had back in the day.
Yeah, the job market's a whole different beast now, especially in finance. The competition is fierce. But with the right preparation, you can totally rise to the top.
Speaking of rising to the top, where do we leave off? Oh yeah, RoleCatcher's AI. It's like having a personal interview coach right there on your phone. It's kind of mind-blowing how much technology can give you an edge these days.
Totally agree. It's all about working smarter, not harder. And on that note, let's dive into another question that might come up in your interview. Can you describe your experience with financial modeling? This one's all about showing off your analytical skills.
Financial modeling. Sounds a little intimidating, to be honest. It's got to be more than just spreadsheets, right?
You got it. Think of it like building a simulation, but with finances. You're taking all this complex data, figuring out which variables are key, and then creating a model that projects future performance. These models help with things like valuation and informing strategic decisions. It's about seeing the bigger picture through the lens of numbers.
So it's not enough to just say, yeah, I've built some models. You really need to paint them a picture. Right?
Exactly. Talk about the specific types of models you've created. Have you built a discounted cash flow model to evaluate an investment opportunity? Or maybe a sensitivity analysis model to assess different scenarios?
Okay, those are some really concrete examples. What about the software? Should you mention the specific programs you're good at?
Definitely. Hiring managers want to hear that you're fluent in the language of finance. Mentioning that you're familiar with industry standard software like Microsoft Excel, Bloomberg terminals, or any specialized financial modeling program shows that you're up to date and ready to hit the ground running.
It's all about speaking their language.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to talk about the challenges you faced while building these models. Did you have to make assumptions because you didn't have all the data? How did you validate your findings? Those details show that you can think critically and solve problems on the fly.
These are such good pointers. It's not just about showing what you've done, but how you've navigated the messy realities of the business world. Speaking of messy realities, let's talk about financial audits.
Ah, yes, the dreaded financial audit. A necessary evil to keep everything transparent and compliant. You can definitely expect a question like, how do you handle financial audits?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, I cross my fingers and hope for the best isn't the right answer.
Probably not the best strategy. This question is all about showing that you understand auditing procedures, you're detail-oriented, and you can handle a little scrutiny.
So it's about being proactive and prepared, even when things get a little intense.
100%. Talk about your specific audit experiences. What types of audits have you been through? What was your role? Did you prepare documentation? Work directly with external auditors. Highlight any situations where you found discrepancies and fix them.
So you're taking what could be seen as a negative, who loves audits, really, and turning it into a positive way to show off your skills and attention to detail.
You got it. It shows that you take compliance seriously and you have a history of keeping those financial records accurate and transparent.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. Now, let's switch gears to something a bit more fast-paced. Cash flow management. I imagine that could be a wild ride for a financial manager.
It definitely keeps things interesting. Be prepared for a question like, how do you manage cash flow? This is where you get to show off your skills in financial planning and forecasting and your ability to make sure the company has enough liquid assets to operate smoothly.
So it's like keeping the lights on and the engine running.
That's a great way to put it. You need to be able to anticipate those cash crunches before they happen, figure out financing options, and make strategic decisions to keep the company's finances in a good place.
This sounds like another area where RoleCatcher's AI could really come in handy.
You're telling me. Their platform can analyze your work experience and pull out relevant examples that highlight your cash flow management skills. Maybe you implemented a new invoicing system that got those invoices paid faster. Or you negotiated better payment terms with suppliers.
Now, those are some real-world wins. It's about being proactive and making the whole system work better, not just reacting when things go wrong.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about another crucial skill for a financial manager: forecasting. Get ready for the question. Can you describe your experience with financial forecasting?
Forecasting. It's like you're looking into a crystal ball, trying to predict the financial future of the company. No pressure or anything.
Well, we're not asking you to be a fortune teller, but it does require strong analytical skills, a deep understanding of how the business works, and the ability to interpret trends and data.
So how do you answer this question without sounding like you're claiming to be psychic?
Focus on your process and the methods you use. Talk about specific times you've developed financial forecasts. What tools and techniques did you use? What factors did you consider? Did you look at historical data? Do market research? Get input from different departments?
So it's about breaking down this complex process into manageable steps and showing that you have the expertise to handle each one.
You got it. And don't forget to highlight the impact of your forecasts. Did your projections help the company make smart budgeting decisions? Secure funding for a new project?
Now, that's what I'm talking about. It's not just about what you've done. It's about showing the value you bring to the table.
Exactly. Now, imagine you're in the interview and they ask, how would you describe your leadership style? Even though a financial manager might not be managing a huge team, those leadership qualities are still super important.
That's a really good point. It's not always about having the official title, but about demonstrating leadership in everything you do.
Exactly. Think about times when you had to influence decisions, mentor your colleagues, or step up and take charge. Did you ever lead a project that went above and beyond?
This is where having a portfolio of your work could be a game changer. I remember we talked about how RoleCatcher lets you upload projects, presentations, even articles you've written to showcase your skills and experience.
Such a valuable tool. It's the perfect way to give potential employers concrete proof of what you can do.
So let's say you've nailed all the interview questions and the company's ready to make you an offer. Time to talk about the big bucks. Salary negotiation.
It's the moment of truth. This is where a lot of people get uncomfortable, but it's so important to advocate for yourself and make sure you're getting paid what you're worth.
I have to admit, salary negotiation always makes me a little nervous. Any tips on navigating those waters successfully? Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our look at what it takes to become a financial manager, and you know what? I'm feeling a lot more prepared to tackle those interview questions head on. But we've got one last crucial thing to cover: salary negotiation.
It's a conversation that can feel a little, well, awkward. But remember, you've totally shown them what you're made of during those interviews. Now it's just about making sure you get a compensation package that reflects your skills and helps you reach those career goals.
That's easier said than done sometimes. Where do you even start?
It all starts with research. Before you even think about negotiating, do your homework. Websites like Glassdoor, Salary.com, even professional organizations, they often share salary ranges for financial manager positions. And they break it down by experience, location, industry, that kind of thing.
So you're walking in there with solid data to back you up, not just throwing a random number out there.
You got it. And don't forget about your own unique skills and achievements. Did you consistently exceed expectations in your last role? Do you have any special certifications or expertise that make you stand out? Those are all things you can leverage to justify a higher salary range.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's say you've done your research, you're ready to talk numbers. What's the best strategy? Should you be upfront and direct about what you want, or play it a little cooler?
Honestly, a balanced approach is usually best. You want to be confident about your worth, but also be ready to have a conversation. When they ask about your salary expectations, give them a range instead of a single number. It shows that you're flexible, but you also know what you're looking for.
So instead of saying, I want to make $80,000, you could say, based on my experience and what similar positions are paying, I'm aiming for something between $75,000 and $85,000.
Exactly. It shows you've done your research and you're approaching this strategically. And another thing, negotiation isn't always just about the base salary. Think about the whole package. Don't be afraid to ask about things like signing bonuses, performance-based incentives, even professional development opportunities.
That's a great point. It's about finding the whole package that really works for you and helps you get where you want to be in your career.
You got it. And this is another area where RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful. Their platform can give you insights into the typical compensation packages for specific roles and companies. Talk about having an edge in those negotiations.
It's like having your own personal finance guru A&D career coach all in one. Now, let's shift gears a bit. We've been talking a lot about the technical stuff, but what about those soft skills? You know, the ones that are super important for any job, but especially in finance?
Oh, absolutely. Your technical skills are what get you in the door, but those soft skills are what really set you apart in the long run. We're talking about things like communication, teamwork, adaptability, problem solving, leadership. These are the qualities that help you build relationships, influence decisions, and navigate all the ups and downs of the business world.
Those are some big ones for sure.
Mm.
Any advice on how to develop those skills, especially if you're just starting your career?
Absolutely. Seek out opportunities to collaborate with others on projects. Raise your hand for leadership roles whenever you can. Think about joining industry organizations or going to networking events. Those experiences are not only great for building your soft skills, but they're also perfect for making connections.
Speaking of networking, I know that can feel intimidating, especially for people who are more introverted. Any advice on how to make the most of those networking events or just build connections in the finance world?
Honestly, it's all about building real relationships, not just handing out a bunch of business cards. Focus on having genuine conversations, asking thoughtful questions, and finding things you have in common with people. And don't be afraid to follow up. Connect on LinkedIn, send a personalized email, maybe even grab coffee and continue the conversation.
Such good tips. And this is where having a mentor can be a total game changer, right?
Totally agree. A mentor is someone who can guide you, share their own experiences, and give you a fresh perspective on your career path. They can even open doors for new opportunities and introduce you to important people in the industry.
Finding a good mentor can feel tricky, though. Where do you even start?
You're not wrong. It's about finding someone you click with, someone who gets your goals and wants to help you grow. Look for mentors within your company, or maybe connect with alumni from your school. You can even reach out to people you admire on LinkedIn.
And don't be afraid to just ask. The worst thing they can say is no. You might be surprised how many people are willing to pay it forward and mentor the next generation of finance rock stars.
Couldn't agree more. As we wrap up our deep dive into the world of financial managers, I want to leave everyone with this. Never stop learning. The world of finance is always changing. Stay curious, be ready to adapt, and always be on the lookout for chances to learn and grow.
Love that advice. This has been an amazing journey exploring this dynamic, rewarding career path. We talked about everything from understanding financial statements to acing those tough interview questions, negotiating a great salary, and building a network that'll be there to support you every step of the way.
And remember, RoleCatcher is your secret weapon throughout this entire process. Their platform and all the awesome resources they have are invaluable for anyone who's serious about a career in finance, whether you're just starting out or you're ready to take that next step.
So to everyone listening, go out there, embrace the challenges, and make your mark on the world of finance.
Until next time on The Deep Dive.